Meet David and Jack, two American boys traveling around in Europe. They walk through the moors of Yorkshire. Oh, sorry, those are the wrong moors. There we go. And they get attacked by a werewolf.
You gonna help me up or what?
Jack is slain and David is mauled. Luckily the beast is shot by nearby townsmen before it can finish the job. Convenient timing. David is then brought to a hospital in London where he has a couple of freaky fever dreams that all correlate to werewolves. Running through the woods, eating a deer, a bunch of Nazi monsters killing off his entire family, the usual.
Holy shit.
Then his dead friend Jack pops up
Can I have a piece of toast?
to warn him that he will become a werewolf at the next full moon, that he should kill himself or he will begin eating British people. But to be fair, I bet it tastes better than British food. Later David has sweet British intercourse with a nurse. Interesting hospitals I have in London. All the nurses here are about as charming as Nurse Ratched. Later that night, David's friend shows up again. To once again warn him that he will become a werewolf soon, and probably that he misinterpreted the part about eating people. So then David does turn into a werewolf and creates havoc around the city. The end. Basically. If this sounds like a script written by a teenager, that's because it is. Director John Landis wrote this at the age of 19, and years later, after the success of Animal House and the Blues Brothers, he was finally given the opportunity to translate his little passion project to the silver screen. I'm guessing that's the reason why the plot is a little simple. It is a very straightforward werewolf movie, and the characters aren't really fleshed out. Figuratively speaking, that is. But hey, after reviewing The Wolfman and The Curse of the Werewolf in the previous episodes, I'll take a very simple plot over a needlessly complicated one, or one that sense makes no doesn't. An American Werewolf in London is often crowned as the very first horror comedy, which is just wrong. I mean, Cannibal Holocaust came out a year before, but it's arguably one of the very best at that. When it's funny, it's really funny.
Oh, not here.
He's on the telephone.
Well, tell him I'm out. Tell him I've passed away, an old war wound.
And when it's scary, it's really scary. There are sequences where the suspense is downright Hitchcockian, like the one that takes place in the subway station.
Hello?
The narrow and seemingly endless corridors and escalators create a disorienting and claustrophobic atmosphere. The camera work and editing are masterful, switching between subjective point of views of the werewolf and tight steadicam shots of the guy, almost blocking him or confining him, trapping him in the frame. This sequence is just great, and my favorite part of the movie by far. There are other great moments of genuine horror too, like the opening sequence, where the tension is slowly but very effectively built up in a pub called The Slaughtered Lamb.
I'm starved. There's no food here. Shall we go, Jack?
After which the moors have become an almost gothic setting, like in those old Universal horror movies. It is dark, raining, misty, there is no sense of direction, it feels like the boys are already trapped. And then of course, there's that howling.
Oops.
Which on its own is scarier than the movie, The Howling. But the biggest reason this movie stands out is its confident use of special effects and makeup, which it won the very first Oscar for, by the way. It's really good. It's right up there with The Thing, or Alien, or that Peter Jackson movie. No, not that one. No, not that one either. That's it. There you go. That's the good stuff. You could consider An American Werewolf in London a plea against the use of visual effects. I know special effects can be very expensive, time-consuming, and a pain in the ass for all the artists involved, let alone the agony the actors sometimes have to go through. But just look at that. That is amazing! And it's all shot in a very well-lit room. So this is practical effects and makeup only. There is no trickery in camera or lighting, like in most horror films. It's just so confident, you just gotta love it. I also love the movie for fully embracing the potential of the werewolf character. Even though David's character is not very interesting.
Jack!
Actually, he's more of a schmuck. You almost want to see him fail. kinda like Donald Trump.
Duck.
But this accentuates the tragic nature of his werewolf persona.
Jesus Christ!
Like I stated in the very first episode, the lycanthrope is an inherent tragic character, because he is both the victim and the culprit.
You kill and make others like me. I'm not having a nice time here. You've got to take your own life.
I will not accept this.
And like every protagonist in a tragedy, it mostly doesn't end very well. I don't wish to spoil the movie or anything, but I will say it's very harsh and unapologetic. And yeah, it's kind of obvious how it's all going to wrap up. Jack and David are even introduced in the back of a truck full of sheep. I mean, the only way to make the symbolism more clear is to switch the actors with Sean Bean and Kenny McCormick. So in short, An American Werewolf in London stands out because of its amazing cinematic competence, craft and special effects. The plot is very straightforward, but it is filled with iconic scenes and images of great horror or comedy. But most of all, it seems to me like John Landis just wanted to have a little fun, and that resonates throughout the entire film. The plot may not be perfect, but that's okay. It doesn't get in the way of the movie for being a joy to watch. It just goes to show that you can make a great horror comedy as long as you stay true to the character of the monster and that you treat the monster with respect. Got that? That you treat the monster with respect. And of course that your script is original and doesn't rip off other movies. Okay? That it doesn't rip off other movies. Of course they had to make a sequel, An American Werewolf in Paris, which is just plain bad. And they're working on a remake of the original, which is made by John Landis' son, Max Landis, the guy who made this. So, we'll see how that turns out then. But I'm just glad they're bringing the werewolf back to London anyway. That is if they can still get him across the border. Or maybe we'll get an American werewolf in a refugee camp. Thank you so much for watching. I got a little sick, so I'm really sorry this took a little longer to make. But yeah, here it is. So, we got that going then. Okay, next episode will be the last episode of Werewolf Month, where we take a look at 2000's Ginger Snaps. So, look out for that. Thanks for watching. Freaks out.